Hi guys, it's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. So, in case you're new here, this is about O.J. Simpson, and he was a very, very important football player. So, it doesn't matter what crimes he commits in real life because he's a very, very important football player. That's a new close up of a new door. I wonder why. Good dude. Well, we're watching O.J. commit, the very, very important football
All right, back on the record in the Simpson matter. The defendants again present before the court with counsel. People are represented. We have one more matter we need to resolve before we invite the jury to join us. That is as to the prosecution's offer of presumptive blood tests. Mr. Goldberg.
Oh, I see that it's coming right.
Ms. Lewis.
Our media relations director asked for me to have the court acknowledge what to me is obvious. That is the tape that the inventory of tapes the court wants would be from June 12th. And of course, only tapes relating in some manner at all to this case.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I had an additional citation that I want the court to look to, and it's Professor Winfrey's treatise on scientific evidence, and specifically page 532,
Science.
which discusses admissibility of preliminary blood testing and
It was very frustrating to listen to. Those people were crazy. Look, if you watched my last OJ stream, those people, they're
discusses the phenolphthalein test, and also cites Coleman, which I previously cited to the court. And the reason that I'm bringing this to the court's attention is because I believe that his interpretation of Coleman is the same as the interpretation that I offered to the court when I first cited it. And I'll also give a copy of counsel. May I approach?
You may. Thank you.
Your Honor, may I make one comment before you sign?
All right, who wishes to be heard first?
Just very, very briefly,
I always prefer to go
Beg the
first,
court's
Judge.
indulgence to make one more brief comment on the other matter. The drain at the defendant's residence was the trap was removed on the 13th, and that was the extent of the plumbing, whatever that was done. I just clarified that with Mr. Funk himself.
Because if I don't get to go first, I don't get to go at all.
I heard it was more extensive than that.
Your Honor, not for the purpose of argument, just to clarify what is the issue here. And that is that the people wish to introduce evidence of a presumptive positive in a phenolphthalein test. So we're dealing here right now with the phenolphthalein test, and we're dealing with their request to introduce evidence of the positive result. One of the things that I pointed out, Your Honor, is that a negative result is of a completely different nature. It is a conclusive test. It means that there couldn't possibly be blood there. So to lump the admissibility of negative results with positive results for the phenolphthalein test really raises a completely different issue.
What negative results do we have?
They did presumptive testing on stains all over the place. For instance, they saw reddish stains along the south wall of the house. Police did.
What negative results do we have?
Those were negative.
All right.
Those were negative. There's allegations of certain stains found in other places in the house as well, at Mr. Simpson's house.
All over the place and in other places does not tell us what you're talking about, sir. You need to be more specific. What negative tests are you talking about? So just because they found some stains somewhere in the house that were not blood, what does that mean? I mean, there's stains in everybody's house of something somewhere. That doesn't mean anything.
They tested those. Those were negative.
All right. What's the nature of the plumbing? You indicated that false positives come from copper plumbing. What's the nature of the plumbing at the Simpson residence?
I don't know. I can't answer that question right now. I have not examined the plumbing. But the main problem, frankly, with false positives for a phenolphthalein test, Your Honor, isn't even the copper. It's microorganisms and bacteria. And that's why I've called out to leading forensic scientists around the country, and they don't even use the phenolphthalein test for anything involving plumbing fixtures. They would take the residue or whatever it is that they want to test back to the laboratory and do confirmatory testing, which
No, no. What is going on here? You can't tell the prosecution how to perform their tests for their case. If you, or I don't even know if this guy is for the prosecution or the defense, and I don't care. You can't tell the other side what tests they have to perform for their case. If you have a problem with their tests, you provide an expert that contradicts their tests. You don't just tell the judge no.
could assess what the item is. That wasn't even done here. Unlike the other items that they wish to introduce, there was some corroborative or confirmatory testing done. But as the Blake article points out, microorganisms and bacteria, which live in wet, moist places, such as drains, render the usefulness of a pheno test under those circumstances to be absolutely useless. So that's what gives rise to.
You're not an
52
expert.
issue as
You
well,
need to
Your
shut up. You're a lawyer. Sit down.
That's why we're not opposing, for instance, the pheno result and the photograph depicting it of the stain on the floor of the bathroom.
Because that stain was collected and then tested, correct? All right. Mr. Goldberg?
He said moist? Did he really?
What I'm hearing from the defense is somewhat troubling. What they say is, well, we can put in evidence of the negatives because, as the court will recall from Mr. Cochran's opening statement, he made a big point about blood not being located in certain places. So they want to create this inference buttressed now by scientific testimony that they're graciously not objecting to as to negatives in a variety of places, without also showing evidence of positives in other logical places that one might expect to find blood if a defendant who had just committed murders had come back to his residence, had gone upstairs and stripped of his clothes and taken a shower. That is the height of giving the jury a completely skewed and erroneous view of the evidence. This is a legal question for the court to decide, and it's a very simple legal question. And that is the admissibility of presumptive tests. But before I address the law once more on that issue, which we believe is clear in the state of California, I just asked the court to view it also from a common sense perspective, because we know that a person can come into court, a lay person, and testify that something appeared to be blood or even was blood, that's an appropriate lay opinion. We can ask Mr. Fung, who has some expertise, whether something appeared to be blood. And that kind of an opinion is far less reliable, obviously, than a forensic test. We also know in our courts that a narcotics officer can come in and testify that in his opinion something was in fact cocaine for the purposes of proving that it was cocaine, even where there has been no chemical testing. In fact, there was a case, People versus Sohnleitner, that I was just thinking of as I was listening to counsel speak, where cocaine was flushed down the toilet before the narcotics officer could seize it. And he testified that in his opinion it was cocaine, and the court held that that was fine. Somewhat analogous to the issue we're doing here. So we do allow people to express opinions that are not based upon scientific tests or evidence, that are far more subject to dispute than the kind of scientific evidence that we want to put in. Yet that is allowed. And the ambiguities of those opinions and the fallibility of those opinions is an issue of weight for the fact finder. We don't have to be overly concerned in our system of law of trying to shield the jury from this kind of information when they're going to hear both sides. They're going to hear what kind of false negatives you can have. They're going to hear under what conditions you can get an erroneous result. And they're going to hear the kind of experience that Dennis Fung has had in using these tests and the problems with the tests, which he is qualified to speak to because he is aware of the kinds of things that create false positives. And he has looked at some of the literature in this regard. Now, to address the California law just very briefly on the issue of forensic blood testing or presumptive blood testing. We do believe that Coleman is dispositive, and all they are saying is that, yes, these do come in. Yes, there is a history of them coming in, but you have to have evidence as to what test you're using. Because in that particular case, it was a police officer, not a criminalist, and all he said is that it was a heme stick or hemo stick, and no one knew what that was, or the Supreme Court couldn't make any decision as to what that was. But we know very clearly that phenolphthalein is one of the oldest tests. It goes back all the way to 1909. It's the most specific test according to the literature. It's based upon the same principle as the rest of the presumptive tests, including the ones that the defendant's own experts used. And very clearly under California precedent, it should be admitted. And any issues as to the ambiguity go to the weight of the evidence, and that's a jury issue for them to resolve.
But don't I have a 352 problem that if it's only a presumptive test that hasn't been confirmed and that it's can be triggered by commonly occurring substances as well? And given that this is likely to turn out to be a circumstantial evidence case, I mean, isn't that a really a waste of time?
Well, we're obviously spending more time litigating the admissibility than the evidence would take to come in. The kinds of things that could create a false positive are vegetable peroxidases, which are found in a number of vegetables, common vegetables, including apple. But
not likely to be in a bathroom drain.
Right, exactly. I mean, unless maybe he was pouring apple juice down the drain. There are also a number of other chemicals that are not commonly household chemicals, and this would be the subject of Mr. Fung's testimony. But even as to the vegetable peroxidases, it's very clear that while it is theoretically possible to get a false positive, that an experienced criminalist can distinguish between a false positive and an actual positive, because what evidently happens is it does turn pink, the same pink color that a true positive would, but it's much slower. And this is also documented in the scientific literature.
What about common household bleach, though? Which one would use in
I don't believe that, and I may be mistaken about this, but I'm not sure that bleach was one of the items that could result in a false positive.
The article that you submitted to me indicates that bleach is one of the, chlorine bleach is one of the items that can create a false positive, which is not uncommon in bathroom fixtures.
Yeah, according to Professor M. Winkreed, he does say that. Of course, this isn't a scientific text, but it's a legal text. And as I said, there are other things that do cause false positives. But, and maybe perhaps we could clarify this point with Mr. Fung, because I don't know if I specifically asked him about bleach as opposed to vegetable peroxidases. I don't recall having done that. But I do remember his explanations to me about the vegetable peroxidases, and I can't represent to the court that his explanation would be the same with respect to bleach.
Well, how do we compare the case law here in Coleman with the case law dealing with luminol?
California case law dealing with luminol?
Yes.
Which case is the court referring to?
You know, lawyer, that one case. There was a case that had that with all the luminol. You know, I'm talking about that one.
Out of curiosity, why we're not, I can't find the case at the moment.
Your Honor,
But let me ask you this, why were no follow-up tests done on these items?
what are you going to test to follow up? I mean, in order to collect the stain, there has to be something that you can see, according to my understanding. And there are certain instances where the only evidence you're going to have is the phenolphthalein test. Another instance where we have that, for example, is on item number 11,
All right.
which was the wire.
Now, let me ask you this. Wouldn't the better practice have been to take the trap out of the plumbing fixture?
I think that he
No,
may have
Judge.
taken the trap out.
No, Judge. I'm sorry, but no. Judge, you can't tell them how to present their evidence for their case. What is going on? What is going on here? This is not right. This is not legal, right? Am I just going crazy?
According to what we saw, and I don't know if that would be the better practice. I'd have to.
Was that tested?
Excuse me.
Was that tested?
I don't think so. Or there was. Let me take a look. There was. I'm sorry. There was a test on that, and the trap itself was negative. I mean, so the only that's the evidence that we have. I mean, we looked for evidence, and the only evidence that we have
So isn't it
is the
logical that if
phenolphthalein.
blood was being washed down the sink, that more of it would be in the trap than on the rim of the sink?
I'm not a plumbing expert, Your Honor, so I can't
Exactly.
answer that one.
Thank you.
I was informed by someone who apparently knows more plumbing than I that you don't make drain pipes out of copper. I don't know that to be true, but that's what someone told me. Getting back to the luminol question that the court asked, I'm not familiar with the California cases the court has cited. I'm familiar with some out-of-state cases that deal with that. But can I just make one more point about luminol? Luminol isn't as specific, is nearly as specific as phenolphthalein, and there is literature to document that fact. And the point that I was trying to make yesterday when I was talking about the two-stage process is that you did not always have two stages on the phenolphthalein test. When it was first invented in 1909, I believe that they just applied the phenolphthalein solution, if I'm not mistaken. They now add the hydrogen peroxide, and evidently that is supposed to deal with and negate some of the problems that you'd otherwise have with the vegetable peroxidases.
All right, thank you,
And that
Counsel.
distinguishes it from luminol.
All right. Nope. Proponent. All right, counsel, as to I'm going to direct the prosecution to cover up the two photographs on the exhibit. All right, the two items that were missing, that were agreed not to be introduced were the airline ticket.
I just want to point out again that they're telling the prosecution again to, remove or cover up photos that they had for the jury. And I don't have a problem with that. That's not what my problem is. My problem is I have yet once to have anybody do it to the defense team that I've seen.
And what, a baggage tag?
Your Honor, may we have a few moments just to attach that exhibit, as the court knows I didn't want to.
All right.
Talk louder. I can't wait till we get to the defense. I really can't. I just want to see it so bad. I want to go ahead and watch it myself, but I won't. I promise I won't. I want to though. I'm dying to see the defense. It would be nice if the prosecution put on a murder trial case though while they were here. While we were here in front of the jury, they might want to prove OJ committed murder while they're here once.
Item number 12, inside the house.
No, they would do that at the peril of opening the door to all these other things.
The question was, we cannot argue or suggest in questions that there's no blood in the places where they did the tests. Okay. Other places where there's plainly no blood, we can bring up.
You can bring that up.
Fine.
But if you create a false impression
Right.
that was not tested,
Oh, no.
then you open the door to
Well,
all manner of mischief.
No.
You see, Your Honor, the problem is that what they're intending to do and what they've already done is to create a false impression. Because what they're going to say is that the only places where we have evidence of blood are 14 and 12.
If they argue that, then you get to reopen your case. They won't argue that.
So what they're saying is there
Create
is
false
evidence of
impressions.
blood.
But we can argue that, for instance, they did a pheno test some other place and it was negative.
Correct.
Well, of course, allowing the negative pheno tested.
Counsel, your own authority says that the absence of a positive pheno test is conclusive that there's no blood. That's the authority you've cited to the court.
I was inquiring.
This is not a quid pro quo. Let's proceed.
Yo, I'm entirely confused right now, just so you know. Confuzzled? Completely confuzzled? Thank God the jury didn't hear any of this. We'll see what they put on for the jury. I don't know what the jury, well, we know where the jury is leaning, but I don't know. Come on, prosecution. I want them to pull a win out of this, even though I already know the outcome.
Ms. Clark, I've already ruled on this. We're not arguing this.
I was not allowed to address the proposed instruction. This is the first time I'm seeing
Excuse me,
it.
counsel, but I thought we had complete argument on both sides on this issue. We had, trust me.
We had argument, but this proposed instruction is just now being shown to me. Are we allowed to address this issue of whether the proposed instruction is correct or fair?
Counsel, you had more than ample opportunity to address it.
How's that, Your Honor? This is the first time I've seen it. How could I address something I've never seen?
Counsel, during the course of the argument, Dean Ullman asked for this instruction. Then Ms. Lewis was given the opportunity to respond. here we are.
And Mr. Yulman then wrote down what he proposed that the court actually give with respect to a luggage tag of no prejudicial value at all. I mean, we are losing perspective here, and I've never seen the proposed instruction he just wrote until this moment. We have not had a chance to address it.
Counsel, you had the opportunity to address it. Would you return it to the court, please? Thank you. Let's have the jury. Some of you are still smiling. My apologies to you for having kept you in the small jury room for such a long time. And I want to advise you that I'm going to change our procedure in dealing with so many of these pretrial matters that I have to take up before we invite you to join us. I'm going to schedule all further hearings on these type of matters at 4:30 at the conclusion of the court day, so that we'll get more time in front of you as far as the jury is concerned. Yesterday,
That's right,
something
lawyers.
occurred.
You want to play around with all this crap, you do it after hours. Yep, you're going to have to say after hours to do it.
At the conclusion of the court day that I need to instruct you regarding. The laws governing criminal procedure here in the state of California require the exclusion of evidence that was unlawfully acquired by the police. These laws exist to protect the privacy of all citizens by deterring unlawful police conduct. Prior to the trial of this case, the prosecution agreed that some items of evidence, specifically the airline ticket and baggage tag, would not be offered into evidence at trial. During the testimony of Mr. Fung yesterday, this agreement was violated. You shall therefore disregard the testimony of Mr. Fung regarding the airline ticket and baggage tag. You must treat it as though you had never heard it. All right, let's have Mr. Fung.
Joke's on you. I wasn't paying attention, so I missed it anyway. Or I was driving my
All right,
daughter
Mr.
to
Fung, would
school.
you
I don't
resume the
know.
witness stand, please?
Not school, work.
All right, good morning again, Mr. Fung.
Good morning.
Mr. Fung, you're reminded you are still under oath. Mr. Goldberg, you may continue with your direct examination.
Thank you. Good morning. Before we get into the issue of the evidence processing, once you got back to the lab, I wanted to clarify a few things that occurred earlier on the day of the 13th. Can you tell us, Mr. Fung, what time it was that you left Rockingham for Bundy on the 13th?
I left Rockingham for Bundy at approximately 10 o'clock.
And when did you arrive at Bundy?
I arrived at Bundy at 10:15 in the morning.
Okay. Now, when you returned to Rockingham in the afternoon, did you have occasion to see stain number 8 again that afternoon, the same one that you'd seen earlier in the morning?
Yes,
And was there anything different about the stain when you saw it in the afternoon than when you'd seen it before?
yes. In the morning, the stain was a reddish color, and when I returned in the afternoon, it was a dark brown color.
And is there a distinction between red and brown in terms of the age of the stain in your mind?
Yes.
I mean, what happens when it starts aging a little bit?
When a stain ages, it starts to degrade.
Okay. So it had turned brown by the time you had returned.
Yes.
Now, regarding the stains that were collected at Rockingham in the morning of the 13th, were there any of those stains which you did not personally see being collected?
Or I refer to my notes?
Yes.
I did not personally see stains 7 and 8 collected.
Had you seen them, though, prior to the time that they were collected and during the documentation phase?
Yes,
All right. And at Bundy, were there any stains there that you personally did not see collected?
yes.
What stain or stains?
Would be stain item number 52 with the photo ID number 117.
Was 52 the stain that was at the end of what you referred to as being the trail?
Yes.
You may. Counsel, the request was to see what he's referring to, not to have a private conference.
Looks like they're pointing at a blank page.
Proceed.
Sir, what document were you referring to in order to provide the answers with respect to the stains that you did not personally witness being collected?
I referred to a crime scene checklist, and I also have some other notes that I have created for easier testimony in my notebook.
Okay. And when you were testifying about stain 52 at Bundy, I can't recall whether you may have already testified to this, but did you participate in documenting and measuring where that was?
Yes, I did.
Okay. With respect to the stains that were collected at Bundy on July the 3rd of 1994, when were those booked into evidence in LAPD? Do you have to refer to something to give us the date?
Referring to my property report,
Tell us the date of the property report you're looking at in order to give us this information.
the date of the property report is July 5th, 1994. And the items were booked into the evidence control unit of SID at July 5th, 1994.
Okay. And when you book something into the evidence control unit, is it sealed prior to that time?
Yes, it is.
And regarding item number 9, the glove that you discussed yesterday in your testimony, did you see any stains on the paper bag into which it was placed?
No,
Okay. Did you see any wet blood in the area, excuse me, did you see any wet or dry blood in the area where that glove was found?
I did not observe any.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to put up the Rockingham diagram just briefly.
So
That would be People's 169.
it's a good thing there's no wind in this place.
There's a hell of a lot of hot air, though. A hell of a lot.
Mr. Fung, I'm directing your attention to what's been marked as People's 169 and is titled Rockingham Interior Biological Evidence. Did you have the opportunity to look at this exhibit prior to the time it was brought down to court?
Yes.
And directing your attention to the call out number that says 14, what does that show? What area of the residence is that showing?
That is in the master bathroom.
Okay, so that would be depicting the upstairs of the house.
Yes.
And what do the photographs that are attached to item 14 show?
The photograph on the right depicts Criminals Mazzola displaying the results of a phenolphthalein test. And the photograph on the left is a close-up, and you can see the stain here.
Okay, you're pointing to an area that's just to the right on this photograph, about 1.5 inches or so from the card.
Yes.
And is the other photograph to the left simply a perspective shot demonstrating the same general thing?
Yes.
Now, directing your attention to the item call out number 13, what general area is being pointed to there with that call out line?
That is the master bedroom.
What about the two photographs that attach to that call out line? What do those show?
Those two photographs show a pair of dark colored socks on the throw rug.
Those are the socks that you recovered and listed as item 13.
Yes.
And now to finally direct your attention to the call out line that says 12. What general area of the house is that pointing to?
That is, those two photographs depict the foyer of the house, which is the entrance. And there are 3 large stains on the floor. And that is, a close-up of that is shown in the right picture.
So the right picture is simply, or the left picture rather, simply perspective shot showing the same general item as the picture on the right.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, we had left off yesterday with you going back to the laboratory. And I believe you testified that you arrived at approximately 6:30. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. Now, when you went back to the laboratory, were you still wearing the same gloves that you had that you would have been wearing at the time that you left Rockingham in the afternoon?
No.
What process do you go through in the laboratory when you're returning to the lab with biological evidence?
With biological evidence,
They just
there's a
they
drying
just messed up,
process.
didn't they? Okay, So the police went into the house and found socks. And then before like pictures and that were taken, they moved the socks over to that throw rug. So the defense said they can't introduce the picture of those socks because that's not where they found the socks, and the judge let them. But didn't the judge say they have to tell the jury that that's not where the socks were found? That evidence was moved? Even if Judge Ito didn't say that, they should have, because the prosecution's going to have a field day with that.
That type of evidence is subjected to.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to mark as People's 170 for identification
Be right back.
another board, and I believe it's entitled Evidence Drawing Demonstration.
All right, People's 170.
Yeah. Sir, direct your attention to the board that we've labeled 170. Perhaps we could see the first photograph on that in cell 1. Sir, what does that show?
The first photograph depicts the door to the evidence processing room.
Okay, and that's an interior door?
Yes, it is.
And EPR stands for Evidence Processing Room.
Yes.
Is there any other door that you can take into that particular room?
Yes, there is.
Which door is that?
That is the rolling door that faces towards the outside of the facility.
And in order to get the rolling door up, do you have to go through this door?
Yes.
And indicating the door that's depicted in cell number 1?
Yes.
If you look at this picture in cell number 1 to the right of the door, there appears to be some sort of a plastic or glass-like object. What is that?
That is a marker to let people know where the most sensitive part of the sensor for the keyless entry is.
So is this like a card key type entry system?
Yes.
Right. Was Andrea Mazzola still with you during the trying process that occurred on the 13th?
Yes.
Right. Now, let's take a look at a photograph in cell 2. What does that photograph depict, Mr. Fung?
The photograph depicts the transferring of a cloth swatch in a plastic baggie to a labeled test tube.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to mark a test tube as People's 163 G.
163G.
Sir, I'm showing you what's we just marked as 163G. What is that item?
This is
I would like to call Dr. Test Tube to the stand.
a disposable test tube.
Science is not a person, OJ.
And I'm going to take a item that we've previously marked as People's 163E for identification. It's one of the plastic bags contained in that coin envelope. You testified that this was the type of plastic baggie that you use when you're at the crime scene.
Yes.
Can you just show us how it is that you're manipulating the evidence as is depicted in cell 2 by using the test tube and the plastic baggie?
Yes. Well, first I would have gloves on, as is depicted in the picture. The cloth swatch would be within the bag. I would place the test tube in the plastic bag and manipulate it into the test tube.
Okay. So your hands never come into contact with the swatch itself?
That's correct.
Is that the procedure that you used on the 13th in terms of drawing?
Yes, it is.
And who did all of those manipulations? Was that you or was that Andrea Mazzola or a combination?
Ms. Mazzola labeled the test tubes, and I did the actual manipulation of the cloth swatches into the test tubes.
So all the manipulations you did.
Yes.
Now, when you say labeled the test tubes, what kind of label is put on there?
The same number that is placed on the coin envelopes are placed onto the test tubes.
How many coin envelopes do you work on at a time when you're doing this procedure?
Only work on one at a time.
Okay. And what happens to the control that's in that corresponds to the stain in a particular evidence, not evidence, but coin envelope?
The control is treated in the same manner and placed in its own test tube with the number and the letter C next to it, denoting that it is the control for that item of evidence.
Is it generally easy to recognize the difference between the control and the stain, even without the reference to this letter C?
Yes.
Why is that?
Generally, the cloth swatches that have the stain on them are dark red in color, and the controls are not red. They're either white or very close to gray or white.
Now let's take a look at the cell that's number 3 on this diagram, People's 170. Mr. Fung, what is portrayed in this cell?
Once both the control and the item with the stains on them, or the cloth swatches with the stains on them, are transferred to the test tubes, both the control and the evidence is placed back into the original coin envelopes with the open end faced outwards and placed into a box top.
I don't know how good the resolution is on cell 3, but if you take a closer look at that, can you see how many test tubes are in the envelope that's being placed down by the glove hand?
Yes,
How many is that?
there are two.
Okay, so one would be for the control and one would be for the stain.
Yes.
Now, if you have more than one stain cloth swatch in a case where you applied several in order to collect the stain, where do all those go?
All those go within one test tube.
Because you have one test tube that has all of the stain swatches
Yes.
and one test tube that has the control or controls.
Yes.
What is the purpose of this box that the item is being placed into?
The box is used for storage of, or a transitory storage space to move from the table to the drying cabinet.
Okay, now let's take a look at cell number 4 on People's 170. What does this show, Mr. Fung?
That depicts me placing the box with the items of evidence into the drying cabinet.
Okay. And on the 13th, did you use this same procedure that you've just outlined with us using this demonstration exhibit?
Yes.
Right. Thank you. After the items are placed in the storage cabinet for drying, what did you do?
That night, after the samples were prepared for drying, I went back to Northeast Station where my car was.
Did someone have to drive you there?
Yes,
Who was that?
that was Criminal Smazzola.
Do you know approximately how long this drying process occurred before Ms. Mazzola drove you back to Northeast Station?
Not more than 10 minutes.
Now, sir, on June the 14th of 1994, at approximately 8:30 in the morning, did you receive another piece of evidence from someone?
Yes, I did.
And who was that? If you have to refer to something, tell us what you're looking at.
I am referring to my property reports.
You mean you don't have every single piece of evidence memorized? Rude.
To go through any procedure with respect to the swatches and controls that have been placed in the drying cabinet?
Yes.
And what procedure did he have
Now we will never know what he received at 8:30 in the morning. That could have been the crucial piece of evidence, and we will never know.
to go through?
I had to prepare the samples of the cloth swatches that I have dried overnight for final booking.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to mark another demonstration board. It will be People's 171, and it's a board entitled Evidence Packaging Demonstration.
All right, People's 171.
Now, sir, when you went through this evidence packaging procedure, did you do this alone, or did Ms. Mazzola also assist you with this? On the 14th, rather.
Ms. Mazzola may have been present, but I'm not absolutely
I
sure.
forgot.
Okay.
I just forgot.
And directing your attention now to the board that's been marked as People's 171. Does this depict most of the major steps that are involved in packaging evidence up once it's been dried?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Can we look at cell number 1 on this photograph?
We can do better than that. There's not
Sir, can you
even an
describe for us
emoji on
what's
there.
depicted in cell number 1?
Yes. Using a disposable pipette, I am manipulating the cloth swatches so that they will fall from the test tube onto a clean sheet of paper.
Your Honor, at this time I have another item I'd like to mark. As People's 163 F for identification. And it's some what appear to be glass pipettes.
All right, 163F.
Unfortunately, they're both taped together
We'll
with
call
the
them.
evidence tag. Is it possible for me to break the tag so we can?
Yes,
Thank you.
just as long as you describe for the record how many are there, and
Well, there's 2 of them, and they're taped together with an evidence tag.
fine. Why don't you leave the evidence tag on the single?
I did.
All right, thank you.
Sir, I'm showing you what we just marked as 163F for identification. What is that?
This is a disposable glass pipette.
Okay, I'm going to give you back the little test tube that we were working with. It's 163 G for identification. And can you just show us, as if there had been a swatch in there, what manipulation is shown here on the photograph that you're doing?
Sometimes when the swatch with the stain on it dries to the side of the test tube and it sticks there. So I'll take the pipette, work the swatch free, and then turn it over onto the paper so that the swatch will fall onto the piece of paper.
What do you call the piece of paper that you're putting the swatches on as depicted in cell 1?
And once I fold it up, it's called a bindle.
So do you always have to use a glass pipette in order to do this manipulation, or is it just necessary some of the time?
Just some of the time.
All right. And if you don't have to use the glass pipette, how would you do it?
I would turn the test tube upside down onto the paper, and sometimes it just falls right out.
And then you fold up the spindle in the way that you described.
Yes.
Now, if we could see cell 2 on this exhibit. Mr. Fung, what is depicted on cell 2 of the exhibit?
In cell 2, I am throwing away both the test tube that contained the cloth swatch and the pipette that I used to remove or manipulate the swatches within the test tube.
So when you're saying you throw it away, do you use one pipette for each sample on those instances where you have to use the pipette and then throw it away? Or is it the same pipette used throughout the whole?
It's a different pipette for each sample and control.
And all those pipettes are just thrown out?
Yes.
And the test tubes?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if we could see cell 3. Sir, what does cell 3 depict?
Cell 3 depicts me folding the paper up so that the swatches are secure within that piece of paper.
Okay, so would that piece of paper be the same one that you had placed the swatches into originally as depicted on cell 1?
Yes.
And now if we could see cell 4. Sir, what does cell 4 depict?
That depicts me labeling the paper bindle.
And what do you label it with usually?
Usually, I will place my initials on it and the item number or photo ID number, whichever I have at that time.
Do you do something to distinguish between the stain and the control?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so if this is a single item that we're looking at in this demonstration, do you put the stains in one bindle, and then what do you do with the controls?
With the controls, I will repeat the same procedure starting from number 1 and repeat the same procedures, only I will label the paper bindle with a C.
Okay, so in other words, you're going through all the steps with the stain, and then you're going through all the steps again with the control.
Yes.
Right. Now, if we could see cell 5, what is depicted in cell 5?
Cell 5 shows me placing both the bindles in a coin envelope and placing tape over the flap so that the item is secure.
And what coin envelope is this? Is this a new coin envelope?
Generally, it's the same coin envelope used from the very start when the plastic bags were placed in them.
So in other words, it's the same coin envelope that you used at the scene and then in the drawing process and then again in the evidence packaging process?
Oh. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Fung. You may resume. Stand. And it's what we just went through the drawing process that was used in this case for the items of evidence that were collected on the 13th and then also on the 3rd of July.
Yes.
All right. Now, later that morning, the morning of the 14th, did you have a conversation with any other laboratory personnel regarding tests to be performed on the evidence that you had collected at Rockingham and Bundy?
Yes.
Who was involved in that conversation?
Criminalist Yamauchi and criminalist Greg Matheson.
Who is Greg Matheson?
Mr. Matheson is, or was at that time, the supervisor of serology. He is now a chief forensic chemist.
And what about Mr. Yamauchi? What was his position in the laboratory at the time?
Mr. Yamauchi is a criminalist assigned to the serology unit.
Do you recall where physically this conversation took place in the laboratory, or did it take place in more than one place?
I'm not exactly sure where it took place.
Okay. Now, during this conversation, was a determination made as to what items were going to be tested on that particular day by Mr. Yamauchi?
It was a group consensus, and we all came to the conclusions as to what items would be tested.
And the three of you were the only participants in that discussion?
Yes.
All right. Now, which items, if any, did, excuse me, let me ask another question first. Did you see Mr. Yamauchi sampling some items of the evidence that morning?
I remember him sampling evidence, but I don't recall on which day it was.
Okay. And did you make a notation in your report as to what items were handed over to Mr. Yamauchi on the 13th for the purposes, excuse me, on the 14th for the purposes of testing?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell us which page you're going to have to refer to in order to give us that information?
There is a page, it doesn't have a date or anything on it. Well, it does have one date on it, 6/14/94, and the top of it is labeled field notes.
Okay. What items did you give to Mr. Yamauchi? And if you will, can you give us the item numbers as well as the photo numbers?
The items I
Objection.
gave to criminalist Yamauchi are
Objection. This is not relevant. Listen, we just haven't heard an objection in a while, so I felt we needed it.
the items that criminalist Yamauchi sampled that day were item 9, 41, which was photo ID number 106. Item 42, which was photo ID number 107. Item 47, which was photo ID number 112. Item 48, which is photo ID number 113. Item 49, photo ID number 114. Item 50, photo ID number 115, that's 115. And item 52, which was photo ID number 117.
Now, do you recall why it was that you decided to give him item 41 and 42? I think those were the reference samples that you testified to yesterday.
Those were given to him for the testing procedure because we had not yet obtained reference samples from the coroner's office.
You mean from the victims?
Yes.
Right. So for what purpose then would you be giving him, if you can clarify, 41 and 42?
41 and 42 were given to him so that he could identify what types the victims were and determine if any additional bloodstains found at the crime scene were from a third party or
And
more.
did you say that was because you did not have the samples from the coroner yet representing Ronald Goldman and Nicole Brown?
Not at that time.
Okay. Now, I know we talked about this a little yesterday, but did you say that these items were taken as reference samples at the time that they were collected?
Yes.
And why is it, if you know you're going to get blood eventually from the coroner, why would you bother taking a reference sample at the scene?
There are times when the reference samples obtained from the coroners are somewhat degraded, and many times the blood at the scene, which has been able to dry quickly, is a better sample, or yes, a better sample of the victim's blood types.
What does dry?
You take the good, you take the bad, and then you take them both. And there you have the facts of life. That's what we're doing now. The facts of life.
And quickly have to do with it?
When blood, or for any matter, biological evidence is in a wet state, it will degrade faster than when it is dry.
And with respect to item 42, the item that was collected at the base of the first set of stairs, what was the condition of that pool of blood in the area where it was collected from?
The pool was somewhat tacky. It was somewhat wet still. It was not completely dry.
Okay. At the time that it was collected?
Yes.
Now, at approximately 10:30 or so in the morning of the 14th, did you go to some other location for the purposes of collecting evidence?
Yes.
And where was that?
That was at the LAPD print shed.
And where is the LAPD print shed located?
That would be 151 North San Pedro Street.
So it's in downtown Los Angeles.
It's across the street from Parker Center.
All right. When you went to that location, did you have to get into the print shed or was it already opened?
I unlocked it.
How did you unlock it?
I had a key.
All right. And what did you see in the print shed when you unlocked it?
There was a white Bronco in the print shed.
Have you seen that white Bronco before?
Yes.
And where had you seen it before?
I had seen it the day before at 360 North Rockingham.
What was the license plate of that vehicle, Mr. Fung?
Referring to my vehicle search checklist, that would be 3, C as in Charles, W as in William, Z as in zebra, 788.
When you got into the print shed and saw the vehicle, did you try to get in somehow?
I had to, or a detective from Burglary Auto Division was requested to help us unlock the door.
Did you have a key to the vehicle at that time?
No.
It was locked when you first saw it?
Yes.
Was it also locked at the scene when you'd seen it on the 13th?
Yes.
Right. And how was it that this detective helped you get in the vehicle?
He had a device which is known as a Slim Jim, and he was able to unlock the car door.
All right. Now, when you were at this location, did you go alone or was another criminalist with you?
Seriously. If you don't have a Slim Jim yourself, go get one. They are the greatest things ever. That's all I'll say.
Criminalist Mazzola was with me.
Did you collect some stains from the Bronco on this date, the 14th?
Yes, I did.
And when you collected those, did you do that personally or did Ms. Mazzola also collect some stains?
I collected them personally.
Right. Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to mark as my next exhibit a board that says Bronco board, I believe, as 172 for identification.
172, Bronco board.
This is so hard because sometimes you guys make a comment that I want to reply to in a way that would get me canceled in a second.
Before we get into the board, I just wanted to ask you a couple other questions. When you got to the print shed, this was on the 14th,
June 14th, yes.
and that was that the day that the detective opened up the lock Bronco with the Slim Jim?
Yes.
Okay. Now, have you had the opportunity to look at the board that we've just put up, People's 172 for identification, entitled Bronco Evidence?
Yes.
All right. And does this depict various items of evidence that you collected on the 14th?
Yes.
Does it also depict some items of evidence that were collected later on by someone other than yourself?
Yes, that's correct.
Perhaps we'll just go around clockwise, starting with the photo that contains item 34. Okay. Fortunately, we're not going to be able to put it up there, but directing your attention, sir, to item 34 for identification. I mean, item 34 with the card. What does that depict?
That depicts a stain which was next to the card. See it right here.
Is that on the inside of the car?
Yes, it is. It's on the driver wall.
All right. And does the call out line that has line 34 on it depict the general location of that stain?
Yes.
It would be on a portion that we can't see on the sketch.
Yes.
All right. I'm not sure that all the jurors can see the board, Your Honor. Perhaps we can just readjust it a little bit. Okay. Your Honor, perhaps we could move this in a fashion that's a little bit more centered with the.
I'm trying so hard, guys, but if they found Nicole or Ron's blood in there and all these little dots, they should have freaking led with that. This is something we should have heard of many months ago. If that is their blood. Okay, let's just say for shits and giggles that what they're saying was Berman put the glove in the Bronco at one point before he planted it back there, which I think is a bunch of bull. Because if he did, would the blood be there, 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 there? Would it? Would it?
Court's permission. Okay. Now, sir, directing your attention to the cell that has the call out line number 23 on it. What is portrayed in that call out line and photo?
In the photograph, there is a red stain in the handle well.
Okay. And does the call out line depict the general vicinity of that stain?
Yes.
Now, with respect to these two stains, 34 and 23, how did you collect them? What technique did you use?
Those were collected using the same method previously demonstrated.
The cloth swatch technique?
Yes.
Right. Now, directing your attention to what's been marked here with the photograph 33 and the call out line, what does that show?
I'll refer to my notes. 33 depicts the driver floor carpet.
So it's the carpet itself.
Yes.
And what did you do to collect that?
I cut it out of the vehicle.
Were there stains on that that were apparent to you when you looked at it on the 14th?
Yes.
All right. Now, moving to the call out line that's number 24 and the corresponding photograph, what's depicted there?
This depicts a stain that was on the instrument panel. And its relative location is depicted by the call out.
Okay. What technique was used to collect that stain?
The cloth swatch method was used.
And 33, is that another photograph that appears to depict the area of the carpet?
Yes.
Right. And now moving next to 33 with the call out line number 29, what does that photograph and call out line depict?
29 was a stain removed from the 7 o'clock position of the steering wheel.
What technique was used?
The cloth swatch method.
And now directing your attention to the photograph that depicts both 31 and 30 in the call out lines, what is shown there?
There are 2 stains on the center console, and they're depicted and shown by the call out lines.
Now, did you remove the console itself from the vehicle?
Good question, Ginny. Guess where it is? O.J. Simpson's infamous white Ford Bronco is currently on display at the Alcatraz East Crime Museum in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
Or was that done by someone else?
That was done by somebody else.
And looking at the photograph that's depicted at the bottom of the chart on the right-hand side that has numbers 304, 305, and 306 in it, did you put those numbers there or did someone else do it?
Somebody else did that.
Do you recognize the item that's portrayed in that photograph?
In the center console?
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you recognize it?
The same general stains are present.
All right. Does that look the same as it did on the 14th, with the exception that it's been removed from the vehicle?
Generally, yes.
And also the photograph next to that depicts 293. Is that one that you did, or is that something that happened at a later time?
That happened at a later time.
Okay, and finally, the photograph next to it, showing the call out line, number 25.
25 was a, I'll check my notes again. Number 25 was fibers with red stains on the carpet.
What technique did you use to collect those stains?
I cut the fibers that had the stains on them from the carpet.
Okay. And does the call out line there depict generally the location in the carpet where it was found?
Yes.
Your Honor, perhaps we might be able to move this. I'm finished with it now, but just so the jurors could see somehow.
All right, Mr. Fretlow, you want to show 1492, the exhibit? Also, Mr. Fairtlow, would you briefly show it to our audience? All right, we'll take our recess for the lunch hour. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember my admonitions to you. Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves. Don't form any opinions about the case. Don't allow anybody to talk to you about the case. Do not conduct any deliberations till the matter has been submitted to you. See you back here at 1:30. Mr. Fung, you may step down. You're ordered to return 1:30. Thank you, sir. Just stand, please. All right, let the record reflect we've been rejoined by all the members of our jury panel. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Almost an on-time start. All right, Mr. Dennis Fung is still on the witness stand undergoing direct examination by Mr. Goldberg. Good afternoon again, Mr. Fung.
Good afternoon.
You're reminded you are still under oath, sir. Mr. Goldberg, you may continue with your direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. So we were talking about the search of the Bronco when we left off. Did you recover any physical items of evidence in the Bronco other than the stains that you just referred to in the way of clothing?
Yes,
What was that?
I collected a cap.
Where was the cap collected from?
The cap was recovered from the driver floorboard.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like the witness to take another look at People's 164 for identification. What was the box? May I approach the witness?
Yes, you may.
So showing you 164 for identification.
And again, they didn't say there if any of that blood was Nicole or Ron. They just didn't say it. Maybe because he's not the right person to ask. I don't know. I don't know. Now we're getting to the cap. If Ron or Nicole are on that cap, they should have led with that a month ago, 2 months ago. We are on day 71-ish, I think. That should have been day 3.
Could you unseal that and describe what you're doing for the record?
Cutting along the bottom edge of the box
And now we have Fung's blood all over it.
through the tape. Within the package are several.
I might be doing something wrong, which obviously I am, but no package ever opens that easy for me, ever. I don't care how sharp it is, I have my device. Is that the murder knife? Yes. Yes, it is.
Bags. The first one I'm pulling up is item number 27.
Okay, and is that the bag into which you placed the cap?
It's a McDonald's
Yes, it
bag,
is.
sir.
And you also put the DR number in our case on there.
Yes.
Right. So perhaps you could unseal People's 160. Perhaps we can mark that as 164C, Your Honor, just so the record is clear.
All right, 164C will be the paper bag marked as item number 27.
And could we mark the glove 164A and the blue bag 164B?
All right, Mrs. Robertson, do you have that? All right, thank you.
I'm cutting along the seal. unfolding the bag. And within the bag is a cap.
And is that what you collected?
Yes.
Okay, can you now replace the item describing what you're doing for the record?
If I had to cut open a box in front of all of America, maybe the world, I don't know, I would, yeah, that would, my hands would be, my hands would be that shaky too.
Placing the cap back in the bag and folding.
Maybe it's just now, but I thought that the rules of evidence, the rules of the court is that the prosecutor has to open the evidence, um, not the witness. Or am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong.
Bag gap.
Not the, yeah, the
Placing the
prosecutor.
cap back into the box.
Now, after you had collected the various items of evidence from the Bronco, where did you go?
After collecting the items of evidence from the Bronco, I returned to the crime lab.
With items that you had collected?
Yes.
And was the Bronco secure when you left?
The Bronco was left in the print shed, and the print shed was locked.
Okay. When you went back to the crime lab with the items, did you go about processing them in terms of the drawing process that you previously described in your testimony?
Yes.
Now, on this particular occasion, do you remember what role, if any, Andrea Mazzola played in terms of the drawing process?
She removed some of the samples from the plastic bags and placed them in the test tubes to dry.
Using the technique that you had described, or do you recall whether she used a different technique?
She used the same technique.
All right. And what was done with the evidence after it had been placed into the bags, excuse me, it had been placed to the test tubes to dry?
After being placed in the test tubes to dry, they were placed in the drying cabinet within the evidence processing room.
All right. Now, directing your attention to the afternoon of June the 14th, after you came back and did this processing with the Bronco evidence, did you remain at Piper Tech?
Yes, I did.
And what were you doing there that afternoon?
I continued to write my property reports from the previous 3 scenes that I had done.
Now, with respect to the, excuse me. With respect to the vial of blood that you had received from Detective Van Adder, was a property number assigned to that vial of blood?
Yes.
And who assigned that? Was that done by you?
Yes,
or
it was. Yes, it was.
All right. And can you describe for us how that process occurred of assigning the number to the vial of blood?
I had items of evidence numbered up through 16. I had received the vial of blood at Rockingham the afternoon before, and I decided to make that item number 17.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to mark as people's next in order 173, a Xerox copy of laboratory note L115, and it has numbers 17, 18, excuse me, L15 was the laboratory note, and it has items 17, 18, and 19 listed.
I would like the original of that, which I believe is in court, marked as well. You can use the copy, but I'd like the original marked as a separate item.
Well, he's entitled to run his own case. If he wants to use a Xerox copy, he can use a Xerox copy for this purpose. If you want to use the original for cross-examination, you're entitled to do so. Proceed. He marked as 173.
Your Honor, may I put this up on the Elmo?
Yes.
Sir, we're going to show you what's been marked as People's 173 for identification. Do you recognize this page?
Yes.
And who wrote that out?
That was written by Criminals Mazzola.
Okay. And did she write that out at someone's direction? Or did she do it on her own? Did you tell her to, or did she do it on her own?
I believe she,
The objection.
I don't think he has proper foundation yet with respect to personal knowledge of.
Rephrase the question.
Did you tell her to?
No.
All right. And when was the first time you saw this document?
I saw it while I was writing my property report.
Okay. And what did you do when you saw this document?
I had her transcribe the information onto an evidence collection report.
Okay, this was just written on a blank sheet of paper?
Yes.
And do you have standard forms that are used in the ordinary course of the crime laboratory's business for the purposes of writing out items of evidence that were obtained during a crime scene investigation?
Yes.
All right. And is the crime scene identification checklist that we saw yesterday one of those forms?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd now like to mark as People's 174 for identification. Another document, I'm going to put a 174 in the upper left-hand corner. I can't read the L number on it, but I'm showing it to counsel.
All right, 174. This is another lab note.
Yeah, and it has 18, 17, and 19 on it.
So yeah, so in a in a trial, the prosecutor can open evidence, the defense attorney can open evidence. This is weird. The judge, it doesn't say he can open it. It just says he oversees it. And the witness may be called to testify and authenticate sealed evidence. So he is allowed to. I've only ever seen the prosecutor open sealed evidence and they say, I am opening blah, 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 this number, blah, 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 and this envelope, blah, 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 blah. I hear a lot from blah, blah, blahs from prosecutors.
Can we put that together?
Like right now, he's about to say blah, blah, blah.
Okay, now, Mr. Fung, directing your attention to 174, what is this document?
This is the evidence collection report that the information was put on or transcribed to.
When you say the information, are you talking about the information from the last document we saw, 173?
Yes.
And who put it on this form?
That was a combination of myself and Mr. Mazzola.
Okay, and on this form, what was the number that was assigned initially to the blood vial that had been received from Detective Van Adder?
Initially, the item number was 18.
And that was what Ms. Mazzola had put on the other form?
Yes.
And what was item number 17?
Item 17 was a pair of tennis shoes.
Now, when Colin Yamauchi collected his evidence earlier in the morning of the 14th, do you recall whether he was given a number as to the reference sample of the defendant's blood?
I don't recall.
Or
I don't recall.
All right. Now, at some point, did you decide to reassign numbers to these, to the two?
Yes.
And why did you make that decision?
I wanted to keep the items in a chronological order and reduce less paperwork for myself.
Okay. Now, why would it reduce the paperwork?
If the blood had remained item number 18, I would have had to create 3 additional property report face sheets.
Okay. Now, with the pair of sneakers on the previous document that we saw was labeled item 17. Is that correct?
Yes.
Which did you receive? And the blood 18?
Yes,
Which did you receive first, the blood or the pair of sneakers?
I received the blood vial first.
All right. And do you try generally to keep items in chronological order?
Generally, yes.
In order to do that, did you need to reassign those numbers?
Yes.
Now, I wanted to follow up on this other question that you said about reducing the paperwork. What is the type of paperwork that you would be reducing?
Property report.
Your Honor, may I mark as People's 175 for identification? A property report that has the date of, well, rather than identifying by date, I'll do it by number. It's number 12 through 17. And I have another property report, which I'd like marked as People's 176, that has number 18 and 19 on it.
All right, so Mark, 175, 176.
Okay. Sir, looking at this document, do you recognize this?
Yes, I do.
And who filled that out?
I filled it out.
And is number 17 way at the bottom the reference to the vial of blood?
Yes.
Okay. Now, can you explain to us with this exhibit why you would have had to fill out more paperwork if you had kept the blood vial as number 18 instead of changing it to 17?
When writing property reports, we are not allowed to skip item numbers from, for instance, going from 16 to 18. You have to have everything in sequential order. So if I wanted to make the blood 18, I would have had to stop at item number 16, created a new property report with 17 and only 17 on the next property report, create another property report with only 18 on it, and that's why I made the blood number 17.
Okay, let's take a look.
With her.
Judge Ito comes in the middle of the courtroom. This is dangerous. Danger, danger. Surround him with bailiffs. There's a murderer sitting right there, Judge. Judge, run. Look at that projector. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Chinny, you were 100% correct. Where did the judge go? He left. There are 3 bailiffs around the murderer right now, though. Yep, 2. 2.
All
How
right,
did
it
he get back
appears
there?
that this exhibit, I believe this is number 175, is the property report, reflects 2 items, the 15 and 16, which are the items that we just had the problems about earlier this morning. And unfortunately, the evidence presentation system is sufficient that I can, from the jury box, read what items 15 and 16 are. And if you recall, that's what caused me to read the sanction instruction to the jury, and now the prosecution has chosen to show this to the jury again.
I see that, Your Honor, and I did not take it upon myself to redact it. I wasn't thinking about that at all. And Mr. Scheck saw the document before we put it up, and he did not say anything to me.
Well, I don't know that it's Mr. Scheck's obligation.
That's not a question of obligations. It's a question of there was no objection, and this is a situation. I mean, what were they trying to do? Wait for something to be put up in front of the jury, and then hold back and then make an objection and suggest that some sort of remedial action needs to be taken when Mr. Scheck saw it. And I think that if you asked him, well, why didn't you say anything? He'd say, I overlooked it too, in all probability. I mean, what I was concentrating on was item number 17. The only relevance of this document is item number 17. And that was all my concentration was on, was item.
I hate to ask, but he goes with you. Send him to jail. What the heck are they arguing about? I missed it. I don't know how I missed it, but I missed it.
Number 17 and explaining that part of this witness's
We
testimony.
were just opening bags a second ago. I might have gotten
You're
distracted.
not making this easy, are you, Mr. Goldberg?
Well, I really don't think it's that difficult, Your Honor, in all due respect to the court. I mean, it happened.
Oh, wait.
No
We have an
objection was
agreement
made.
that this item is not going to be used or mentioned. You violate that agreement. I grant the unusual remedy of instructing the jury that that should not have been done.
Are we talking about the freaking airline ticket and luggage tag again?
20 minutes after that happens, and 20 minutes into the session this afternoon, you put this up on the Elmo.
Well, everything the court has said is true. I mean, the court's recitation of the facts are correct.
The first explanation is you had no idea that that had been the agreement, and the agreement had been if this was going to be brought up again, that the defense was entitled to a de novo 1538.5 motion.
I realize that, and
now here it is again.
Because Your Honor,
in the same day.
I recognize that. It is not customary, Your Honor, for attorneys to take it upon themselves to redact documents. I realize that what should have been done
counsel,
here, if I had caught.
Here's the problem. The court cannot supervise the preparation of each and every exhibit. Otherwise, we'd be spending a whole lot of time just looking at exhibits. And I trust the professionalism and integrity of the lawyers involved in front of me to at least call out the things that aren't going to be controversial. This clearly is.
You're right. And I did not take a second look at this before I used it this afternoon after the court's ruling. I mean, I just didn't think about it.
It wasn't the court's ruling. That was our agreement months ago.
Well, I meant the ruling earlier this morning. And Mr. Scheck, who saw it, did not say anything to me.
Mr. Scheck, any comment?
It's not my job, Mr. Scheck is going to say. It's my job to object. He was doing a good job up until now, actually. I thought he was doing a better job than... Anyway, he was doing an okay job. Yeah, they're going to get in big trouble here, I think. I think they're going to get in big trouble. Mr. Meehan.
I think the facts speak for themselves. I'm sure Mr. Goldberg had planned to introduce this document in regard to the matter of the transfer of the blood vial in item 17. I walked over, took a quick glance. I did not think at that moment that about the airline ticket being in that particular place. That's true, but he's trying his case. It didn't occur to me till we sat down, took a look at the monitor, and I said, "Oh my God, there it is." I don't know what to say about that other than I don't want to try his case for him, and I suppose he has to look at the items and redact them as appropriate. The real dilemma that I actually have at this moment, and I don't know if the court wants to address it, is the issue of remedy. So whenever you want to, but that's the only comment I can make on what he's saying.
Well, what remedy do you seek?
We need a moment to discuss that.
I just feel like the whatever remedy this team is about to ask for, they're going to get.
Your Honor, in terms of the remedy, As indicated by the initial instruction that Dean Ullman proffered to the court, our concern is really with, at this point, the prosecution's violating its agreements. At this stage, what we're concerned about is it now begins to look as though we're trying to hide these items when there was an agreement they wouldn't be introduced. And now,
in one day.
re-instructing them, all of a sudden, the importance of this may take on greater weight in the jury's mind than it really ought to, in terms of the defense trying to hide something from them. When that's not really what's going on here. What's going on here is the prosecution, that's why, has violated its agreements. In fact, I think in the first instruction that Dean Ullman proffered to the court, we didn't even necessarily ask for a remedy. Disregard everything you've heard about that. Because we do have that concern that it's going to look like we're trying to hide something from the jury. We never should have been in this dilemma in the first place. So the remedy is that we'd like you to instruct the jury that the prosecution has again violated its agreement with respect to proffering these items of evidence and violated the court's order.
Mr. Goldberg?
Well, Your Honor, the problem with these arguments is that this seems like an incredible placement of form over substance. I mean, don't you start your analysis by asking yourself, what is the prejudice here? And Your Honor may recall that one of the first questions that I posed, rhetorical questions when we were arguing this earlier to the defense, was, can they legitimately claim in good faith that this is something that is prejudicial to them? Or that this is something that they might not even have intended to introduce anyway? I mean, based on what the jury has heard.
Mr. Goldberg, were I in your shoes, I would be thinking about adopting an attitude that the court would be receptive to hearing.
I'm just
and rather than cast the problem and the burden upon the other side, opposing counsel, I would be contemplating how best to salvage my credibility before the court. And I would be thinking about that I couldn't say mea culpa too many times in this situation, or I'm in your shoes.
I did. I said it the first time. I'll say it again. And I said during my argument, it wasn't the first time a mistake was made by.
I don't know why, but I feel like apologizing right now because of what the judge just said. He just hurt my feelings really, really bad, and I didn't even do anything. I wasn't even there. Oh man, I really messed up.
Prosecution by me, by defense counsel, won't be the last time. I just didn't know how soon it was going to occur.
Well, but the fact that it occurred again so quickly is perhaps not surprising. But what's incredible, in the true sense of the word incredible, is that it would happen on the same subject matter.
Well, what I would ask the court to do, I can make a representation as to what happened. I can say this is a mistake. I can say it shouldn't have happened. I can say I am sorry. I can also represent to the court that this is not done intentionally. I don't know whether the court believes that or not. That's something that Your Honor has to decide. I know I haven't practiced in front of the court before, but I hope that based upon my representations and the way that I've tried to handle the legal issues, perhaps Your Honor is in a position to decide that. But aside from that issue, I would ask the court also to think about this just from a circumstantial, if you want to talk about evidence and legal analysis for a moment, think about it from a circumstantial evidence standpoint, which is maybe perhaps the only evidence that Your Honor feels that you can rely on if you don't want to accept my word.
Well, Mr. Goldberg, I just have to say that if I were you, I would ask the court's permission to put up a redacted copy of this exhibit, and I would ask permission to directly say to the jury, I'm sorry, I did it again, and move on.
No, it's not his replacement, and I'm so mad right now. The judge just specifically told him exactly what to say and exactly what to do, exactly. And he's thinking about it. He's trying to decide whether that's a good idea or not. Are you stupid? Are you stupid? It is a big deal. Stop trying to make it not such a big deal. What you did was wrong, way wrong. Criminal even. No, the B team's on right now because we're science. We're doing science. So we have the B team on both sides for 3 months, maybe? I don't know.
Well, okay, I can see, I think that the court doesn't want to hear any more arguments about it. If that is the way the court feels it should be resolved, I would agree to that. But just so that we don't have any
Well,
problems.
somehow I get the feeling it's not heartfelt.
Well, I don't know what I can do, Your Honor. It is heartfelt. I mean, I think that the court can
Well, Mr.
imagine
Goldberg,
being in my
trust me,
shoes.
trust me, I don't mean to embarrass you by this, but you got to admit it's incredible that this could happen on the same subject twice in the same day.
I do. I admit it is
All right.
incredible. And I would still ask Your Honor to think about whether or not, because Your Honor has questioned, I think, my integrity. What possible advantage I would
I didn't say that.
conceivably imagine.
I said that I would try to salvage it were I you, and I
and-
would be concerned about it.
And I am. I mean,
All right.
what else can I do? I mean, I wish the court would think about it. I'm certainly sorry it happened. I don't know what else to
put
say.
anything on the court. Don't ask the court what to do. Say exactly what the judge told you to say. Judge, this was an oversight. May I please, to correct it, put a redacted version up so the jury can see and let the jury know that within minutes I made the same mistake that I made before. And it has absolutely nothing to do with what with us trying to hide something from you. This was an agreement that we made and I broke it twice. That's all you got to do, dude. That's all you got to do.
Can I get one of our law clerks out here, please?
I'm glad
Can I have
Darden's
that,
not
please?
here. I'm so glad Darden's not here. Oh my God, Darden would get up and start talking and he'd get arrested. Shot
Is
even.
this a photocopy? Don't go away.
The jury has no idea, zero idea. Why would they? I think the defense is shooting themselves in the foot by making a big deal out of that picture.
See if you can obliterate this.
See if you can obliterate this.
I'm listening.
We've talked it over, and our problem at this point is the concern I expressed before about redacting it out.
Uh-huh.
Is that we
I
fear
can
that
tell them it's irrelevant to the case. Give me 5 seconds. Make sure that what's redacted is gone.
I think the judge just decided
Mr.
that
Goldberg, before we do,
Mr. Goldman had a chance to himself apologize to the jury and fess up to his mistake. And the judge just said right there, I will tell him it's not relevant to the case, which means the judge just took away his chance to apologize to the jury, and the judge is going to chastise him in front of the jury.
go too much further, please accept my apologies to you if I seem irritated. But this day has not gone well. It started off with many different arguments over many contentious items, and it's been a bad day today.
I agree with that, Your Honor.
All right. So don't take it personally. But you're not making my job any easier today. All right,
Oh
Mr.
my
Sheck, you
gosh,
were saying
this
you don't
is
want to
so
highlight
good.
this, is what you're saying?
What's about to happen? I don't
I think
know.
if I could make the suggestion that the court should admonish the jury in any way you see fit with respect to the violations of the agreement. But at this point, it seems that we don't want to bring any more attention to that and make it seem as though there's some undue significance to it. I think the jury may think if they're twice instructed to disregard it, they may think that there's something the defense is trying to hide, and we don't want to do that at this point. So we would just
Use a redacted copy and leave it at that?
no, we don't want to redact the copy, Your Honor. But we want the admonishment that
Oh,
it
wait.
shouldn't have been shown. And at this point, it's of.
Well, if
What?
you don't want to use a redacted copy, then what?
He doesn't want to use a redacted copy. He doesn't want the admonishment. He doesn't want the plane ticket shown. But you can't all talk at the same time. Oh, he's mad. He's mad. He's mad. Oh.
After due consideration, what we would request of the court is, yes, a redacted copy, and add an instruction to the jury that the prosecution has broken this agreement again, and a further instruction to the jury that the items there are irrelevant.
Okay, I like it. He had a chance to do it himself, but he
Let me
screwed
show you
up.
the redacted copy and see if you think this is too obvious.
They're not going to remember what picture was there. They're just
Let's
won't.
give it a- I guess we gotta white it out instead of black it out. Well, you know, with word processors, you don't have whiteout anymore. All right,
I use white out on
Mr.
my monitor every day. How do you think I fix
Goldberg,
my
I'm going to suggest
mistakes?
that you proceed at this point without this exhibit. Mr. Fung can testify with regards to his memory with regards to these items, refer to his own reports. And if we use this item again, number 175, it will have whiteout instead of blackout because that's just too obvious. All right, let's have the jurors.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor, because you weren't just held in contempt and you weren't just fined, and you are okay. You're embarrassed, but you're okay. So how about
We
a
have
thank
been
you?
rejoined by all the members of our jury panel. Again, ladies and gentlemen, the reason for our brief recess is that the exhibit that was on the evidence display system, People's Number 175, made reference to two items that the court has previously deemed to be irrelevant and that the parties had agreed not to present to you. And that exhibit was shown to you by mistake, and you will not be shown that exhibit until it has been corrected to delete mention of those two items. I know that you were very diligent jurors, and I saw you looking up and reading the item. You are to disregard the mention as to items 15 and 16 if you wrote it down, read it, or recollect it. You are to disregard mention of those two items. Proceed.
Wow. Wow, that's not how I thought it would go. I thought he was going to say that the prosecution broke the rules again. That's what they asked for. That was the sanction they asked for. They didn't get it. The judge was way too nice there. How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet that the prosecution, I'm sorry, no, the defense team brings this up over and over and over and over again? They're gonna. If I was the defense team, this is one of the things I would bring up over and over and over again, and this is one of the things I would hang my hat on for appeal, for the appeal, if OJ loses.
And I might add, you were not to speculate as to what those items were.
Okay, so at any rate, Mr. Fung, did you make a decision then to assign item number 17 to the blood vial?
Yes,
And did you then make a decision to assign number 18 to a different item?
yes.
And what item was that?
That was the pair of tennis shoes I had received from Detective Lang.
Now, on the date, June the 14th, approximately how late would you say that you worked there at the Scientific Investigations Division?
Approximately 7:30.
Okay. And were you filling out your paperwork the whole time, or what were you doing?
I was filling out paperwork. I may have taken a couple breaks here and there.
Where were you filling out the paperwork? Do you know what room?
For the record, I think that was an innocent mistake. I think that, he didn't double check. And when they made that board, the question of the tag and the airline ticket wasn't really a question. Like, it wasn't a big deal. It was this morning that it became a big deal. So he didn't realize that he was going to do that. He was just focused on what he was focused on and not the rest of the board. So I think it was just a mistake by him. And one tiny mistake like him blew up that huge. Ugh.
I was doing that in the evidence processing room.
That's the same room that the drawing process occurs in.
Yes,
In front of America.
Now, directing your attention to the date of June the 15th of 1994,
yes,
did you go to the Scientific Investigations Division?
yes, I did.
And is that also at Piper Tech?
Yes,
Did you receive some more evidence from another criminalist in the morning of that date?
yes, I did.
What did you receive?
I received the victim's reference blood samples or blood vials.
From the court that presumably came from the coroner's office.
Yes,
Who gave those to you?
those were given to me by criminalist Yamauchi.
And on this date, did Mr. Yamauchi sample some more items at around 10 o'clock in the morning?
Sustained foundation.
Sir, to your knowledge, did Mr. Yamauchi sample some items?
Yes,
Where did that take place?
that occurred in the evidence processing room.
Did you make some notes regarding what Mr. Yamauchi sampled on this date?
Yes,
Do you recall whether you had a conversation with him as to what items should be sampled and tested, or how did that work?
best of my recollection, we did discuss what items were most relevant to the issue at that time.
All right. And can you tell us, using the item numbers, which item numbers Mr. Yamauchi sampled from on this occasion?
Mr. Yamauchi sampled items 23, 34, 25, 31, 33, 12, and 14.
After those items were sampled, what were you doing for the remainder of the day?
On
The 15th.
the 15th, I processed the Bronco evidence and continued to finish property reports.
Did you return to work on the 16th?
Yes, I did.
And what were you working on at the 16th?
On the 16th, I prepared all the evidence and checked it for final booking and entered the evidence into SID property.
When you entered into SID property, was it in a sealed condition?
Yes, it was.
And by all the evidence, you mean from Rockingham, the Bronco, and Bundy?
Yes.
Sustained.
I didn't-
Rephrase the question.
Which
They-
question? The last one?
compound.
The last one?
Yes.
Did that include the evidence from Bundy
Yes.
and Rockingham
Yes.
and the Bronco?
Yes.
And still object if that is vague as well.
Overruled. That's as obviously as of the 15th. Jury can figure that out.
I don't know if it's because he's doing a better job than Marcia, or that Marcia is Marcia and female, but the judges is overruling most of the defense team's objections to what this lawyer is trying to pull from his witness.
I just have one moment, Your Honor.
I would have asked for a moment before right after being chastised. Can I just have a moment, Your Honor? I mean, we all needed a moment after that. We all needed to collect ourselves after Judge yelled at all of us for something we did do wrong.
Sir, I'm not sure whether I covered this, but as to item number 18, the tennis shoes, when were those recovered?
The tennis shoes were recovered on June 14th, early in the morning.
And who did you recover them from?
According to my notes, Detective Lang.
Do you recall where that was?
That was in the serology unit in the crime lab.
Was anyone else present other than you and Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Who?
Criminalist Matheson and Criminalist Yamauchi.
Mr. Matheson, is he who you referred to previously as presently the chief forensic chemist?
Yes.
And was there also an evidence number, item number 19, that you recovered?
Yes.
When was that recovered?
That was recovered on June the 14th.
Where did you recover it from?
I removed item 19, which is hairs and fibers, from the glove in item number 9.
Did you package them up in some way?
Yes, I did.
In where?
I placed them in a, to the best of my recollection, a paper bindle.
Were they Nicole's or were they Ron's? Can you just please tell us?
And put them in a coin envelope and assigned them item number 19 in their own envelope.
Yeah, they think they get a list. And do you know if they are Nicole's or Ron's hairs? Yeah, the shoes he got from OJ's house. Right? He threw them in the back of it. He threw them in the front of his car. He told everybody he put them in the trunk. He didn't.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to mark another exhibit. It would be People's 177 for identification.
177.
And it's actually a series of,
Please, for the love of God, do not present this until someone looks at it. Please, for the love of God.
5 boards called LAPD Evidence Disposition Summary. Perhaps we could wait for just one moment before we put them up to see whether. Okay, we can put up number 6 at the top first.
I think since Ron was wearing his shoes, they went with him to the coroner's office. That would be my guess. I'm still trying to figure out what they were saying. Was it yesterday or the day before that Nicole's feet were jammed under the chain link fence so that she couldn't have been running? I wish they would have explained that a little bit more because I've been churning that since then, and that doesn't make none of that makes any sense. She couldn't have been running because her feet were jammed under the fence. That doesn't. I'm going to move on. I'm going to try to just forget about it, but I can't.
Mr. Funk, perhaps you could step down for a moment and take a look at this. We put up a board that's been, Your Honor, maybe we should mark this with the court's permission, 177A.
177A, the whole board?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Fung, have you seen this board before?
Yes, I have.
And did you have the opportunity to carefully examine this board and a series of other boards just like this one?
Yes.
All right. Now, did you have an opportunity to look at the photographs in the various cells next to the names Fung and Mazzola?
Yes.
And in several instances on the other board, were there cells that just had your name in it?
Yes.
Did you also look at the cells on all the other boards?
Yes, I did.
Now, was the resolution in the photographs good enough so that you could see what was depicted in the photograph?
Yes.
All right. With respect to, let's just start with 6. I don't think we have to go through all of them. But with respect to 6, what is shown in photograph in the cell LAPD, a collected LAPD, and 6 next to Funga
Up in the upper right-hand corner is the DR number. Here is the item number. And here is my initials.
What is number 6, the item depicted in the photographs?
So I'm going to refer to my host.
Well, I mean, just is it a coin envelope?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And is that the kind of coin envelope is that the kind coin envelope that would have been used at one of the scenes?
Yes.
Do you have to refer to your notes to tell us which scene it was?
That scene, no, I do not need to.
Okay, which is that?
That is from the Rockingham scene.
Okay, do you need to refer to your notes to tell us where at the Rockingham scene this was collected from?
Yes.
Can you tell us?
That was, item number 6 was recovered from the driveway close to the Rockingham entrance.
Okay, so if you can recall back to when we were showing the first Rockingham board that we discussed yesterday, there was an item number 6. Do you recall that? Would this be the envelope into which you placed that item number? Item number 6. Right. Now, was the date that you did it June the 13th of 94?
Date I collected?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Now, when you went through this board previous to your testimony, did you check the dates and the photograph number using your crime scene identification list, just as you did a few moments ago with number 6?
That and my property reports, yes.
Okay. And was this an accurate summary of that information?
Yes.
And the crime scene identification checklist, is that a document that's made in the ordinary course of the crime laboratory's business when you're collecting stains from a scene?
Yes.
Or other evidence?
Yes.
And the property reports, are those also standard business records that are used at Los Angeles Police Department?
Yes.
It scares me that there's no objections to any of this. Like I feel like the defense right now is just letting them dig their own grave, and they're gonna got you later. But this is science, right? This is science. So what is there to object to? It just scares me that they're so quiet over there. I don't know why.
Now, when you went down this particular board, did you see the packaging into which you placed the items that were collected accurately portrayed in the pictures
Yes.
next to your name, or your name and Ms. Mazzola's name?
Yes.
And did the pictures accurately portray that packaging?
Yes.
Now, how did you recognize the packaging in each instance?
In the photographs, there's either my initials or criminal Mazzola's initials or some other identifying characteristics such as a coroner's case number that would be unique to that item.
Did you also look at the DR numbers?
Yes.
Did you do the same thing for all the other boards in the series?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd like to put up the other boards, but I just need to get the witness to authenticate them. So I'm not sure whether we need to physically drag them over here or not. Was the court planning on taking its recess fairly shortly?
3 o'clock.
Okay.
Need a moment to recycle your exhibits. Go ahead.
What is the point? What yeah, like I'm getting so frustrated because this is a murder trial, and they are not linking anything to OJ as far as I can see. They're getting close a little bit. It's It's like, I'm going to say it again. It's like married sex with these people. They almost get there and then they just stop. Almost. They almost get there and then they're like, I'm going to go away and bore me. That's not mute. That's pause.
People's 177B, I have a similar board, and this has items 25 through 44.
All right, 177B.
Sir, do you also recognize this exhibit?
Yes,
And this was one of the other boards that you took a look at?
yes,
Okay. And did you go through the same process that we just discussed in connection with 177A of verifying the photographs, the dates corresponding to each one of the cells
yes,
that you collected? And was the information contained on this board true and correct?
Objection to that question. Only to his initials.
Yes.
Only to what?
Rephrase.
Okay.
The information is accurate as to his participation, yes.
Well,
Rephrase question.
okay, let me ask it more specifically. Did the photograph accurately depict the packaging of the items, the various items that you collected or that Andrea Mazzola collected in your presence?
yes,
And did the dates accurately reflect when those items were collected?
yes.
All right. Now let's take a look at 177C. This says 45 through 87. I'm sorry, 57. Is this another board that you looked at, Mr. Fung?
Yes, it is.
And did you go through the same procedure that you described with respect to 177A of verifying this board?
Yes,
And did the photographs in the cells under collected LAPD next to your name and or Andrea Mazzola's name accurately reflect the packaging into which the items were placed that either you collected or were collected in your presence?
yes,
And were the dates also accurate?
yes.
Now, 177D. This contains item 59 through 82. Okay. Now, looking at this particular board, when you go down the LAPD collected column, every name here is someone else. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you did not participate in the collection of these items.
Yes, that's correct.
Right. Now let's see 177E. Sir, did you go through the same procedure with this board that you went through with 177A?
Yes,
And on this board, there are only 3 items that you collected.
yes.
Those are which item numbers?
115, 116, and 117.
And did you look at the photographs to determine whether they accurately reflect the packaging that you placed those respective items in?
Yes,
And does the date accurately reflect when you did that?
yes,
Okay, thank you. For the record, Your Honor, this was 84 through 305. Did you have occasion to go out to the location at Bundy since July the 3rd?
Yes,
And when was that you went out?
I've gone out there 3 additional times.
Did you go out there in February of this year?
Yes, I did.
For what purpose?
I went out there to take additional measurements with Special Agent Bodziak.
Yes.
Was he with the FBI?
Yes,
Do you know which division?
he's with, no, I don't know what the name of his exact division is.
But is it a scientific evidence type division?
Yes,
All right. Now, what materials did you bring with you out to the scene, if any?
we had some photographs and measuring devices.
Okay. Did you did you have photographs there that depicted the shoe prints as they existed on June the 13th?
Yes,
All right. And did you have occasion to go out again on March 25th?
yes.
And why were you going out then?
I was out there to take even more measurements with DA personnel.
Do you recall who from the DA's office was with you?
Miss Martinez.
The young lady behind me?
Yes.
All right. Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to mark a what appears to be a set of notes as People's 178 for identification.
And you've looked at them carefully.
What? Yes.
Good.
Well, I think we're finished with the yellow oath today anyway here.
Good.
Council's already seen these, but I'm just going to authenticate them with the witness. May I approach? So showing you People's 178 for identification. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
And what are those?
These are measurements taken of shoe prints at the Bundy scene.
Is that a compilation of various notes that you took on the 3 dates that you just mentioned?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Fung, with respect to investigating a crime scene, which we talked a lot about yesterday, is there any single right way or right formula for going about investigating a crime scene?
There are general guidelines that people follow. However, there's no single right way in any circumstance.
Is the way that you go about investigating a crime scene subject to different opinions of different forensic experts, criminalists?
Yes.
Could 2 forensic experts have different ideas about exactly what to do at a crime scene?
Yes.
And sir, is there a recognized principle in criminalistics that in every crime scene that has ever been processed, it is always possible to use hindsight to criticize the work at a later date?
Sustained.
Sir, have you heard of is there any recognized understanding within the criminalistics field regarding whether or not it is possible to process a crime scene in a way that no one could ever criticize?
Brown. Sustained. Leading.
It's okay, Your Honor. I don't think I have any further questions. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Good afternoon, Mr. Fung. How are you, sir?
Good afternoon.
Mr. Fung, I thought we would start with discussing the role of the criminalist. Would you agree that it is the role of the criminalist to preserve the integrity of evidence?
That is one of the roles, yes.
And that would mean that it's your job to make sure that evidence is not contaminated.
In some respects, yes.
It is not compromised or altered.
I object to the word
Vague.
compromise.
Vague.
It is not altered by the people gathering it.
Well, I object to that because again, it's vague.
Overruled.
In all cases,
Yes, when you get to a crime scene, you see evidence. You don't want it to be compromised in the gathering in terms of the way you originally found it. You want it to be in the same condition as much as you possibly can as you originally found it.
Compound.
Overruled.
not in all cases. There may be some cases where it might be raining out and you would want to move the evidence to preserve it.
Right, to preserve it in the original condition as that you found it, right?
Well, it's vague.
Sustained.
But you said that sometimes it may be raining out, so you want to protect the evidence so that you can gather it in as close as possible to its original condition. Is that what you just said?
Not exactly. You would want to preserve it to maintain its integrity and so that it would retain its value to an analysis.
Okay. And it's your job to make sure as much as possible that evidence is not corrupted.
Well, I object to the word corrupt.
Sustained.
Well, that evidence is not tampered with.
Yes.
And would you agree that it is the role of the criminalist to be careful
Yes.
Well, I object to that. It's overbroad.
Overruled.
and that you should not be in a hurry when examining evidence at a crime scene?
Generally, yes.
And you would agree that recognition of new clues beyond what the detectives show you is important.
It can be, yes.
And you would agree that sometimes extremely important evidence is not obvious as soon as you arrive at the crime scene.
Yes.
Criminalist wants to go through a process of careful reconstruction upon arrival at the scene.
I object to the phrase reconstruction. That's vague.
Sustained.
Have you heard the term crime scene reconstruction?
Yes.
And that has a formal meaning, does it not?
Yes.
And what do you know it to mean?
A reconstruction is using the physical evidence at the crime scene to come up with a scenario as to what happened at that crime scene.
And so when you get to a crime scene, as much as possible, a criminalist would want to look at all the evidence and begin the process of reconstruction in an effort to find relevant clues.
Well, I object to this compound.
Overruled. Do you understand the question?
Yes.
All right, you may answer.
Not in all cases.
Would you agree that it is a principle of crime scene contamination to first protect the scene?
Crime scene contamination?
Excuse me, crime scene investigation, to first protect the scene,
Yes.
all right? You don't want to trample or obliterate evidence.
If it can be avoided.
You don't want to contaminate the scene.
Yes.
You would want to conduct a quick search for perishable evidence.
Yes.
And then you would want to retreat and approach the scene slowly and methodically.
Yes.
And you recognize I'm reading from,
Sustained.
fair enough?
Yes.
Would you agree that it is important for a criminalist not to make assumptions? In in approaching a scene.
Yes.
It's important not to take shortcuts.
Sustained. Rephrase the question.
Be important not to rush to judgments.
Sustained.
Would you agree that it's important for a criminalist to be accurate?
Yes.
Accurate and complete in making notes.
In making relevant notes, yes.
Accurate about the number of items that you collect.
Yes.
About the nature of the items you collect.
What do you mean by nature?
Description of the nature of the items that you collect.
Yes.
Who collected them?
In the notes?
Yes.
Not in all cases, no.
Well, you were referring before to your crime scene checklist, correct?
Yes.
And in your crime scene checklist, there are boxes, are there not?
Yes, there are.
And as you go across the page in the crime scene checklist, the boxes refer to item collected, and then next to that is by, correct?
Yes.
And that's a box where you're supposed to fill out who collected the item.
The crime scene.
Is that true?
No.
I asked him about the box.
Wait, he just said no. He's finished his answer. Proceed.
As a criminalist, you want to be accurate about where the item is collected.
Yes.
And you want to be accurate about how the item is collected. What method is used.
In the notes?
In the notes or in terms of your own recollections. You want to be accurate as to how items are collected.
As long as they're collected in a standard procedure, I don't see the need for taking notes.
Well, aren't
on
there
it.
different ways to collect various items of evidence?
Yes, there are.
And don't you think it's important to make notes about exactly which one was used on what occasion?
If it was relevant.
All right. And isn't it important, as you're processing a crime scene, to keep accurate notes about the order of collection?
I don't see where the order of collection would necessarily have to be documented, as long as you had a time frame from which you could say when they were.
Well, on your crime scene checklist, right next to the box that indicates by, there's another box that indicates time, is there not?
Yes, there is.
And the purpose of the box that indicates time is to have the criminalist write down when an item was collected.
In certain circumstances, yes.
And when you have a lot of different items, in order to minimize confusion, isn't it a good idea to write down the time of collection?
Not necessarily.
And in your judgment, when you have a lot of different items of evidence that you're processing, it's not a good idea to memorialize the order of collection?
Not unless it was going to be relevant at some later time.
Now, would you agree that it's important for a criminalist to create an accurate chain of custody?
Yes.
The thing is, he is smart. So when they ask him stupid questions, it breaks something. He has to stop and think about, is that really what he's asking me? That's a stupid freaking question. How am I supposed to answer that? Yes. It looks like he doesn't know the answer. He has to think of the answer. But really what he's thinking in his head is, did I hear that right? Is that what he's asking me?
And could you tell us, please, what you mean by a chain of custody? What's your understanding of it?
The chain of custody is a record of when evidence leaves one person's custody and is given to another person's custody.
And the reason that it's important to keep accurate records about the chain of custody is, or one of the reasons is to prevent samples from getting mixed up.
Well, that's not my understanding of why chain of custody is necessary.
You don't think that an accurate set of records about where an item went, who received it next, is of assistance in preventing mix-ups?
That may be a secondary,
Is that a reason?
that is one of the
Okay.
reasons.
Another reason to have an accurate chain of custody is to guard against cross-contamination of samples.
No, not even a
That's
tiny
not
little
my
bit.
understanding of chain of custody.
You don't think chain of custody has anything to do with cross-contamination of samples?
No.
That's not my understanding of chain of custody.
All right, that's a good point.
One more question.
One more.
And would you agree that one of the important reasons to have an accurate chain of custody is to prevent anyone from tampering with evidence?
Yes, I would agree with that one.
That is a reason, yes.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our afternoon break. This will be a 15-minute recess. Please remember all my admonitions to you. Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves, form any opinions about the case. Don't allow anybody to communicate with you. Do not conduct any deliberations. See you back in 15 minutes. Mr. Fung, 15 minutes.
All right, guys. I have to get him best in the mess ready. I don't have a best of the mess ready, and I need one by 7, and it's 4. So I also have to get my stream. Oh, no, I don't. No, I don't. Thank you so much for coming out to OJ today. I wasn't going to do OJ today, but I'm glad I did OJ today because it went from boring to really good, really, really fast. Ah, and we got way further in OJ. We are on April 4th, so I might be wrong about that. I think we're on day 72, not day 71. So I think my thumbnail's wrong, but I don't care. It's fine. I'll fix them all later. We are still under the 200. The 200. We are 10 away from 200. But look, we got an hour one here. Oh, that's it. The rest are 2 hours. There's a 15-minute one. So we'll get there in a couple of days. We're going to be at episode 200, which is not halfway, but almost halfway. And Fung is still on the witness stand. Oh, man. Oh, we got someone new here. So Fung is on episode 198. And then way down at episode 207, we got someone new. So that's either Fung the whole way down or we get some people in here. So I don't know, another 2 weeks with Fung? Maybe more, maybe less. That's good. That's good. Guys, have a great day. I'll see you on Bill's stream if he streams tonight. Bye-bye.